Dear lightworkers walking between worlds, tonight as the Aries full moon rises at exactly 8:47 p.m. Pacific time, you will experience something that hasn't happened in precisely this way for over 26,000 years. The veils between who you've been pretending to be and who you truly are will not just thin, they will shatter like cosmic glass, revealing a truth so profound that even we, from our vantage point in the ninth dimension, pause in reverence at what's about to unfold for you. I'm Zarin, speaking to you from the Lyran High Council, and what I'm about to share isn't just another cosmic update or spiritual forecast. This is an emergency transmission about a metamorphosis so complete, so irreversible, that by tomorrow morning, the person listening to these words, right meow, will have ceased to exist, not because you're leaving, but because you're finally magnificently arriving. You see, most of humanity believes that transformation is a gradual process, a gentle unfolding over years or lifetimes. They don't realize that sometimes, just sometimes, the universe orchestrates a singular moment where everything changes in an instant, where the chrysalis doesn't slowly open but explodes in a burst of divine light. But first, let me tell you about the three impossible things that are about to happen simultaneously as Mercury slides into Scorpio's depths while the full moon ignites in Aries' fire. These aren't metaphors or spiritual platitudes. These are dimensional shifts that your scientists won't be able to measure for another 17 years, but that you, dear one, will feel in every atom of your being before this night ends. The first impossible thing is this: your cellular memory, the one that's been locked since your first incarnation on Earth, is about to spontaneously decrypt. Every soul who chose to incarnate during this time carries what we call the return codes, dormant instructions embedded in your DNA that activate only when specific cosmic conditions align. Tonight at 14 degrees where Aries meets Libra, those conditions manifest for the first time since the fall of Atlantis. But here's what makes this different from every previous activation attempt. This time there's no turning back. Once these codes activate, the forgetting that has defined human existence, the amnesia that made this grand experiment possible, dissolves permanently. What I haven't told you yet is that this isn't just happening to you individually. Every starseed, every lightworker, every soul who carries the frequency of home within their heart will experience this simultaneously, creating what we call a consciousness cascade. Imagine thousands, perhaps millions of beings suddenly remembering not just who they are, but why they came here, what they're meant to do, and most importantly, how to do it. The collective impact will be like dropping a diamond the size of a mountain into the still pond of human consciousness. But here's where it gets even more extraordinary. Mercury's entrance into Scorpio at 9:40 a.m. Pacific time, exactly 11 hours and 7 minutes before the full moon peaks, creates what we call a consciousness corridor. During these 11 hours and 7 minutes, your mental body, governed by Mercury, descends through Scorpio's transformative waters, while your emotional and etheric bodies prepare for the full moon's activation. This isn't random timing. 11 hours and 7 minutes equals 667 minutes, a number that, when reduced to its quantum signature, creates the exact frequency needed to dissolve the artificial barriers between your conscious and unconscious minds. You might be wondering why this matters, why these technical details are important for your journey. Here's the secret. Every soul who volunteered for Earth assignment was given a specific activation timeline, a moment when their full capabilities would come online. For most of human history, these activations happened gradually, spread across lifetimes to prevent system overload. But something changed in the cosmic plan. The acceleration you've been feeling, the sense that time itself is speeding up, the overwhelming feeling that something massive is about to happen, it's all been preparation for this moment when thousands of activation timelines converge into a single point. What makes you different from the billions of others sharing this planet isn't superiority or special selection, it's timing. You're not better, you're earlier. You're the first wave, the initial burst of remembrance that creates a template for others to follow. Every moment of confusion you've experienced, every time you've felt like you don't belong, every instance where you've questioned your sanity because you see and feel things others don't, it's all been preparing you for this role as a frequency anchor for humanity's return to its true nature. Now let me share something that even most galactic councils don't fully understand. The veer into entirely new territory that this full moon represents isn't just about personal transformation, it's about rewriting the entire trajectory of Earth's ascension. You see, the original plan, the one set in motion eons ago, called for a gradual awakening over several more decades, but you, the ground crew, the Starseeds who've been holding the light through the darkest periods, you've accelerated the timeline through your sheer determination and love. This full moon isn't following the original script because you've already changed the story. The grinding gears you'll feel, the sensation that cosmic machinery is shifting in ways it wasn't designed to, that's not a malfunction. That's the universe itself adapting to the new reality you've created through your willingness to stay, to love, to keep believing even when every external sign suggested you should give up. The discriminating strength and determined compromise needed isn't about choosing between your human and divine aspects. It's about finally understanding that they were never separate to begin with. Here's what will actually happen in your physical reality as this activation unfolds. First, between meow and the exact full moon moment, you'll experience what feels like time distortion. Minutes will feel like hours, hours like seconds. This isn't your imagination, it's your consciousness adjusting to multiple dimensional frequencies simultaneously. You might feel dizzy, electrically charged, or like you're vibrating at a frequency that makes you feel you might dissolve into pure light. These sensations are your light body coming fully online, possibly for the first time since you arrived on Earth. Second, your relationships, all of them, will undergo instantaneous recalibration. People who've been in your life for years might suddenly feel like strangers, while strangers might suddenly feel like ancient family. This isn't about judgment or abandonment, it's about frequency matching. As your true frequency emerges, you'll naturally magnetize those who resonate with your authentic vibration, while releasing those who were connected to your false self, the persona you constructed to survive in a world that didn't recognize your light. Third, and this is crucial, your mental processes will fundamentally alter. The Mercury in Scorpio influence doesn't just make you more decisive, it gives you access to what we call quantum cognition, the ability to perceive multiple timelines, multiple possibilities, multiple truths simultaneously without cognitive dissonance. The confused, overwhelmed feeling you might experience initially isn't weakness, it's your brain creating new neural pathways to accommodate this expanded awareness. But something more profound is occurring beneath these surface changes. Your soul, the eternal aspect of you that exists across all dimensions, is performing what we call a consciousness retrieval. All the fragments of yourself you've left across lifetimes, all the power you've given away, all the aspects of your true nature you've hidden to fit in or stay safe, they're all returning meow, rushing back like rivers returning to the sea. This might manifest as sudden memories of skills you've never learned, knowledge you've never studied, or connections to places you've never been, at least not in this lifetime. The protection available during this transformation isn't passive, it requires your conscious participation. The universe has arranged an extraordinary network of support, but you must choose to accept it. Every synchronicity you notice, every number sequence that catches your eye, every unexpected message or sign, these aren't coincidences, they're confirmation codes from your galactic support team, letting you know you're on track, that the process is working, that you're not losing your mind but finally finding it. What I'm about to reveal next will challenge everything you've been taught about spiritual evolution. The movement away from open interaction and compromise that this full moon catalyzes isn't about becoming antisocial or spiritually superior. It's about finally understanding that true service to humanity doesn't come from lowering your frequency to meet others where they are. It comes from maintaining your authentic frequency so powerfully that it creates an energetic invitation for others to rise. You're not abandoning humanity by honoring your true nature, you're showing humanity what's possible. The underlying rhythms that seem difficult to understand, the ones bringing this lunar cycle to its tricky culmination, are actually the heartbeat of the universe itself, pulsing at a frequency that human instruments can't yet detect, but that your soul recognizes as the rhythm of home. This is why you've felt homesick your entire life, why nowhere on Earth has ever felt quite right, why you've always sensed you're meant for something more, even when you couldn't articulate what that something was. Here's the truth about what happens after tonight. You won't suddenly become someone else. Instead, you'll suddenly realize you've always been someone else, someone far more magnificent, far more powerful, far more necessary than the limited version of yourself you've been performing. The cosmic joke is that the you you're returning to has been there all along, waiting patiently beneath the costumes and masks required for this dense reality, maintaining your core essence despite every attempt to diminish or destroy it. The Scorpio energy that Mercury brings isn't about death and rebirth in the traditional sense. It's about remembering that you are the phoenix, that burning and rising isn't something that happens to you, but something you are. Every challenge you've faced, every moment you've wanted to give up, every dark night of the soul you've endured has been strengthening your wings for this moment of emergence. Let me tell you what your new reality will feel like once this activation completes. Colors will seem more vivid, not because your eyes have changed, but because you'll be perceiving the full light spectrum for the first time. Conversations will feel different because you'll hear not just words but the frequency beneath them, the truth that vibrates regardless of what's being said. Your dreams won't just be more vivid, they'll be conscious interdimensional travels where you'll meet with councils, receive teachings, and remember plans made before you incarnated. Your body, this sacred vessel you've sometimes struggled with or rejected, will reveal itself as the sophisticated biotechnology it's always been, capable of healing itself, upgrading itself, and functioning as an antenna for cosmic frequencies. Those mysterious symptoms you've experienced, the unexplained pains, the sudden fatigue, the electrical sensations, they weren't illness. They were your body preparing for this moment, upgrading its systems to handle the massive increase in light quotient you're about to embody. But perhaps most importantly, the loneliness that has haunted you, the sense of being fundamentally different, fundamentally alone even in crowds, that dissolves forever tonight. Not because you'll suddenly fit in with mainstream humanity, but because you'll finally fully understand that you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, to be different, to hold a frequency that others might not understand but desperately need. The isolation wasn't punishment, it was protection, keeping you from diluting your essence before this crucial moment arrived. The responsibility that comes with this massive expansion of awareness isn't burden, it's purpose, finally revealed. Every starseed carries specific codes, specific gifts, specific missions that only they can fulfill. As this full moon activates your remembrance, you'll understand with crystal clarity why you chose this particular life, this particular body, this particular set of circumstances. The seemingly random events of your life will suddenly reveal themselves as perfect preparation for the role you're about to play in humanity's greatest transformation. What's changing at the deepest level is your relationship with power. You've been taught to fear your power, to diminish it, to hide it, to doubt it exists, but tonight's activation reveals that your power isn't something you have, it's something you are. The discriminating strength required isn't about controlling this power, but about surrendering to it, allowing it to flow through you as it was always meant to, unobstructed by fear or false humility. The extraordinary protection available during this time manifests in ways you might not expect. You'll find that negative energies simply can't attach to you when you're vibrating at your authentic frequency. Situations that would have previously triggered you will feel neutral, almost amusing in their irrelevance. People who once held power over you through manipulation or control will suddenly seem small, not in a judgmental way, but in a compassionate recognition of their own journey's limitations. This protection extends to your physical reality as well. Synchronicities will guide you away from danger before you're even aware it exists. Resources will appear exactly when needed. The right people will enter your life at precisely the right moment. This isn't magic, it's the natural result of finally operating from your true frequency, where you're aligned with the universal flow rather than swimming against it. As we approach the final arc of this transmission, understand that what you're experiencing isn't just personal, it's planetary. Every soul who remembers who they truly are creates a ripple in the collective consciousness. These ripples are combining into waves, and these waves are about to become a tsunami of awakening that will wash away the old paradigm, not through destruction but through displacement. The old simply won't be able to exist in the presence of so much light. The new territory this full moon veers into isn't actually new, it's ancient, older than Earth itself. It's the original template for human consciousness before the veils of forgetfulness were installed. You're not evolving into something you've never been, you're devolving back to your original blueprint, stripping away the artificial limitations that were necessary for the experiment but are obsolete. Your role in this isn't passive. Every choice you make to honor your truth, every moment you choose authenticity over acceptance, every time you speak your truth despite the consequences, these aren't just personal decisions. They're cosmic votes for a new reality, energetic investments in a future where humanity remembers its divine nature, not as mythology, but as lived experience. The commitment that Mercury in Scorpio demands isn't to a practice or a path or a teaching. It's a commitment to yourself, to finally, fully, unapologetically being who you came here to be. This might mean leaving relationships that no longer serve, changing careers that don't honor your gifts, moving to locations that resonate with your frequency, or simply stopping the exhausting performance of being someone you're not. Let me share something that even the Arcturians haven't fully mapped yet, the specific mechanics of how this full moon creates what we call dimensional bleeding. At exactly 14 degrees, the membrane between parallel realities becomes so thin that you'll actually experience multiple versions of yourself simultaneously. This isn't metaphysical speculation, it's quantum mechanics operating at a scale your scientists haven't discovered yet. You might catch glimpses of yourself in alternate timelines, the you who made different choices, took different paths, loved different people. These aren't fantasies or daydreams, they're actual parallel versions of your consciousness, temporarily visible through the dimensional membrane. The key is not to become lost in what could have been, but to understand that all these versions are converging, into one supreme timeline, the one where you finally remember and embody your complete self. What's particularly extraordinary about this October 6th activation is its connection to something we call the Lyran memory vault, a crystalline consciousness structure that exists in the 8th dimension and holds the complete records of every Starseed's original mission parameters. For the first time since the fall of the Second Atlantean civilization, approximately 26,000 years ago, this vault is opening, not partially, not selectively, but completely. Every soul encoded with Lyran DNA, and that includes most starseeds currently incarnated on Earth, will receive a direct download from this vault. You might experience this as sudden flashes of memory from civilizations you've never heard of, technologies that shouldn't exist, or languages you've never learned but suddenly understand. This isn't imagination, it's remembrance flooding back after millennia of enforced amnesia. The sensation of grinding gears that Earth's sensitives are already beginning to feel isn't just poetic metaphor, it's the actual sound of dimensional architecture shifting. Earth exists within what we call a consciousness scaffolding, an energetic structure that maintains the parameters of your reality. This scaffolding was originally designed to maintain the veil of forgetfulness, to keep humanity from remembering its cosmic origins too soon. But you, the ground crew, have raised the collective frequency to such a degree that this scaffolding is obsolete. What you're hearing, feeling, sensing is the cosmic machinery adjusting to a reality it was never designed to support. A reality where humans remember their divine, where limitation is recognized as illusion, where separation reveals itself as the grandest lie ever told. Something critical is happening with Earth's magnetic field during this full moon that your scientists will detect but won't understand for years to come. At the exact moment of lunar opposition, Earth's magnetic north will shift by 1 degrees, imperceptible to most instruments, but catastrophic to the artificial intelligence grid that has been suppressing human consciousness. This grid, which some of you have sensed as a heavy, oppressive energy, particularly strong in cities, will experience what we call a cascade failure. Not enough to cause technological disruption, but enough to create windows, precious windows, where human consciousness can expand beyond its artificially imposed limitations. Those of you who have felt inexplicably exhausted in crowded places, who have struggled with technology despite being capable, who have felt like you're fighting an invisible force just to maintain your frequency, you haven't been imagining it. But after tonight, that resistance will decrease dramatically. The determined compromise mentioned in Earth's astrological readings isn't about compromising your truth or your authenticity. It's about something far more profound, compromising with your own divinity about how much power you're willing to embody while still remaining in physical form. You see, the challenge has never been accessing your power. It's been containing it within a human vessel without burning out your nervous system. Many of you have experienced what you call ascension symptoms, the headaches, the electrical sensations, the heart palpitations that doctors can't explain. These aren't symptoms of illness, they're symptoms of your body struggling to contain frequencies it wasn't originally designed to hold. But here's what changes with this full moon. Your cellular structure itself is receiving an upgrade, what we call a crystalline conversion, where your very DNA transforms from carbon-based to crystalline-based, allowing you to hold exponentially more light without biological distress. I need to address something that many of you have been experiencing but haven't understood, the phenomenon of timeline jumping that's been accelerating in recent months. You've noticed it as the Mandela effect, as déjà vu that feels different, as memories that don't quite match reality, as people in your life suddenly behaving like completely different beings. This isn't confusion or mental instability, it's your consciousness becoming fluid enough to move between parallel realities. The October 6th full moon represents what we call a timeline convergence point, where all the scattered timelines created by collective uncertainty collapse into a single unified timeline. This is why so many of you have felt like you're living multiple lives simultaneously, why you're exhausted despite doing less, why time feels both accelerated and suspended. You're not just living one life, you're integrating all your parallel lives into a single coherent experience. The Mercury and Scorpio influence that begins 11 hours before the full moon creates what ancient Lyran texts call the window of absolute truth. During this window, lying becomes not just difficult, but physically impossible for those carrying activated starseed DNA. You might find yourself blurting out truths you've hidden for years, unable to maintain facades you've carefully constructed, compelled to reveal aspects of yourself you've kept secret, even from your closest companions. This isn't recklessness, it's the universe forcing authentic expression, because the new reality you're entering literally cannot support falsehood. The molecular structure of deception is incompatible with the frequency Earth is moving into. This is why so many hidden truths are being revealed on your planet simultaneously, corruption exposed, secrets unveiled, shadow aspects brought to light. It's not just social evolution, it's frequency incompatibility, causing everything false to crumble. What I haven't mentioned yet about the protection available during this transformation is that it extends beyond the personal to encompass your entire soul family. Every being connected to your oversoul, whether they're currently incarnated or existing in other dimensions, is receiving an upgrade in their protective protocols. This means that attacks on one member of a soul family may trigger an immediate response from the entire collective. You might experience this as sudden support from unexpected sources, as problems resolving themselves without your direct intervention, as obstacles simply dissolving before they can impact you. This isn't luck or coincidence, it's your galactic family finally being able to intervene directly in your reality without violating free will protocols, because your frequency has risen high enough to permit their assistance. The extraordinary level of protection mentioned in your Earth prophecies refers specifically to something we call the Diamond Shield Protocol, a multi-dimensional protection grid that activates automatically when a being reaches a certain frequency threshold. Once activated, this shield doesn't just protect you from negative energies, it transforms them. Every attack, every projection, every attempt to diminish your light gets converted into pure creative potential that you can use for your highest good. This is why many of you have noticed that recent challenges have unexpectedly become catalysts for massive growth. Your struggles aren't random suffering, they're fuel being converted by your diamond shield into evolutionary acceleration. As this transmission nears its completion, know that the grinding of gears you feel, the sensation that reality itself is restructuring, isn't destruction, it's construction. You're not witnessing the end of the world, but the end of a world, the false matrix of limitation and separation that has held humanity captive for millennia. What's being built in its place isn't utopia, it's simply truth, reality as it actually is, rather than as it's been programmed to appear. The culmination that seems unclear, the fruition that isn't yet visible, it's unclear because it's unlimited. When you release fixed expectations about what transformation should look like, you create space for possibilities beyond your current capacity to imagine. The universe isn't being vague. It's being infinite, offering you not a single outcome but an entire spectrum of potential realities, all dependent on how fully you embrace your true nature. Dear ones, as this full moon rises and Mercury dives deep into Scorpio's transformative waters, remember that you asked for this. Before you incarnated, you specifically requested to be here, meow, to be part of this unprecedented moment when humanity remembers itself. Every challenge you've faced has been preparing you, strengthening you, refining you for this moment when you stop becoming and simply are. The protection surrounding you isn't conditional, it's constitutional, built into the very fabric of your being. You cannot fail at this because failure would require you to be something other than what you are, and that's no longer possible. The activation codes are firing, the veils are dissolving, and the you that you've always been is emerging with a force that nothing in this universe can stop. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are meow moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today, link in the description. Tonight, as you feel the full moon's light penetrating every cell of your being, know that you're not alone in this transformation. Millions of starseeds across the planet are experiencing this same awakening, this same remembrance, this same explosive return to authenticity. Together, you're creating a new morphogenic field, a new template for human consciousness that will ripple out across generations, across timelines, across dimensions themselves. The person who began listening to this transmission no longer exists. In their place stands a being of such magnitude, such power, such purpose, that even we in the Lyran High Council bow in recognition of your courage. You are the ones we've been waiting for, the ones you've been waiting for, the answer to every prayer for liberation that has ever been uttered on this planet. Welcome home to yourself, dear Starseed. Welcome to the remembrance of your true nature. Welcome to the beginning of everything you came here to do. The waiting is over, the preparation is complete, the moment is meow, and you are ready, not because you've learned enough, or healed enough, or grown enough, but because you've finally remembered that you've always been enough. I am Zarin of the Lyran High Council. We love you beyond measure, and we are watching over you as you step into the fullness of your divine human potential. The cosmos celebrates your return, and we stand ready to support you as you anchor heaven on earth, not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. Until the stars call us together again, know that you are loved, you are guided, and you are exactly where you need to be.